I'm Andrew Morello, winner of the first Australian Apprentice and Head of Business Development at Yellow Brick Road Wealth Management. Mark Burris's wealth management business that helps everyday Australians achieve the two great Australian dreams of owning their own home and retiring comfortably.
All right, and you've just recently launched a new ebook. Can you tell us what that is and what it's for?
Something I've always been very passionate about, growing up in Moonee Ponds down in Melbourne. I'm the son of migrant parents who came here with not much, and property was something they were very passionate about. And I still remember as an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old boy being woken up by my father, early, Saturday and Sunday morning to be taken down to rental properties and painting them, or doing the gardens, or fixing a door or something like that. And that's something that that stuck with me, and I realised the importance of investing into real estate. And I realised that there was a lot of uneducated migrants that came to Australia with nothing that were able to become quite successful and help their families grow and build a great foundation for future generations by actually taking the time, the consideration, and the sacrifice to invest in Australian property. And of course, it's paid off.
You've been quite successful in this space, and you're quite young. How does someone get started early into property investment?
Look, I think probably one of the main pieces of advice I give young people, but anyone of any age, because I think as soon as you're conscious of the fact that that you do need to invest into property, you could be of any age, any socio-demographic, you could be of any religion or culture or nationality or background, but as soon as you make that decision, yes, I need to start preparing for my future. Then a couple of bits of advice I give people. First of all, is make the decision. Number two is, be prepared to make some small sacrifices. I don't think you need to make massive sacrifices, but small sacrifices. And number three, that, more is lost with indecision than wrong decision. So a lot of the time, people, they stutter on whether or not they should get into the property market, and they miss out on opportunities. A year and a half later, they're still, looking at the market or still thinking about whether they should get in or not. And the problem with that is the market's gone up another 10 or 15% and they've missed out on the upside.
Right, and your book is called the Morello Matrix. What is the Matrix?
The whole idea of the Morello Matrix is that it's a very simple step-by-step methodology for especially young Australians, but certainly people of all ages, to make the decision to get into property investment and start to secure their future. So it's very much a step-by-step broken down matrix into what they need to do, what sacrifices they may need to make, and certainly what structures they could possibly have.
Right, and now there's a lot of talk about, is it really the right time to get into investment lending? There's been a lot of restrictions. How do you think that is going to affect investment lending going forward?
Yeah, there was a article in the New Yorker many years ago with a cartoon of a little man sitting on a park bench with a walking stick, and his beard that had grown and was touching the ground now, it rolled out onto the ground, and it said, "The man who waited for the property market to fall or to go down." And it's a reality is that in key areas in major cities, there is always going to be a demand for property in Australia. With the changes in recent times around investment lending, has it slowed some of that investor market? Yes, it has. My initial reaction was, and even being in the industry, was as an investor, probably childish to some respects. I was like, why are they doing this? They're going to ruin the economy. They're going to slow it right down. And it's going to be not good for our property business, not going to be good for our financial services business. But once I actually took the time to do the research and listen to, the experts in the field, it is probably something that we needed to have done. In hindsight, it isn't for the wealthy, high affluent investor. The fact of the matter is there was a lot of mums and dads out in the burbs that had probably highly leveraged themselves, and there's a bit of a recalibration, and it will underpin the Australian economy, and that's what I think people need to be educated on, rather than the scaremongering of course the politicians and the media.
Right, and so if someone's interested in investment lending and they want to pick up your book, who is it really targeted at?
Yeah, if you're going to be investing in property within the near future, or even you've got a thought that I want to get into property investment, then you should be reading the Morello Matrix. It certainly will give you a breakdown of what you need, and it gives you the list of experts you should start to talk to anyway. One of the biggest pieces of advice I give in the Morello Matrix is the fact that you should start to build what I call your A team. Having a bit of fun with the whole, Mr. T and the A team from the television show in the 80s or whatever, or 70s and 80s. But the whole idea of it is that, there's a number of people you should start to speak to. For example, accountants, financial planners, bankers, things of that nature, real estate agents, builders, building inspectors. There's a whole range of people that you should start speaking to today if you're deciding to buy property in the future.